Thursday night football, Bills at Dolphins. Dolphins laying 2.5, over under at 48.5. The splits on this one. Okay, so for 77% of the bets on the spread are on the Bills. 73% of the bets coming on the over, and 70% of the money line bets coming in on the Dolphins. Okay, both these teams did not cover last week.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? Wow, it's a heavy sigh followed by applause. not,
Yeah.
not the game you're the most confident in, is it, Mark?
No, it's not for a couple reasons. Number
It's fair.
one, it's a Thursday night game.
Hmm.
Thursday night games always underperform on expectations, whether or not that's the point total or your prediction for the game. It typically goes to the home team on Thursday nights. Um, but that being said, I'm going with the Bills plus the 2.5. I think it's a close game for the Bills. I think they can compete with the Dolphins. Mostert is out for this game. Devin Achan is a game time decision. It looks
Yeah.
like he might play. But I think the Bills keep this one really close. Uh, the Dolphins last week um, seemed to struggle against the Jaguars. That was a much closer game than I thought that was going to be. I thought the
Yeah.
Dolphins would blow out the
I
Jags, but the Jags hung on the whole way.
I got the sense that the Dolphins were trying to score a touchdown in every play.
Yeah.
And it's not the way you like really put together an offense. It's like, you've got to be able to like build a drive. You can't just be like going for the home run every single. If you're going to go for the home run every single time, you're going to strike out more often than not. I feel like that's what was going on. They were able to hit a couple home runs here and there, and that kind of won them the game. But it seemed like they thought it. I My takeaway from like watching the game was that they on offense they appeared like it was going to be easier than it was. Like they thought that they would just show up, be the greatest show on turf, rack up, whatever they were going to rack up, and just cruise to a win. And the Jags showed up. That defense is a little bit feisty. They showed up and they showed out a little bit.
Mhm.
I was impressed by the Jags until the fourth quarter, and they turtled up and died.
Yeah.
So okay, so did you make a pick?
Yeah, I'm going with the Bills plus 2.5. Who are
Okay,
you picking?
we've got a battle here. I'm going to lay the 2.5 with the Dolphins.
Okay.
Okay. Reason being is Florida teams in these Thursday night games tend to do really, really well. I read a statistic. Florida teams are actually undefeated on Thursday night since they've been doing these.
Hmm.
I'd want to double check that, but that's I read it. I don't. Again, I during the day, like I'll like take like a Twitter break and I won't write things down. Um, but I saw it flash my Twitter feed. I want to confirm that before I'd I'd bet it. So I'll see if I can find that tweet and I'll retweet it on my feed if I can. But I read that the Florida teams do really really well on these Thursday night games. Um, Also, I'm not really worried about the running back issues. I feel like they've got other guys. They've got Jeff Wilson. They've got Jalen Wright. They can Devin Achan probably will play. So I don't really think that's going to affect anything that they want to do on offense. I feel like they've got their guys in their system. And they know what they can do. I mean, I'd feel better if Mostert was playing, sure, but I'm not going to really worry about it. So we saw the Bills defense struggle a bit with against the Cardinals offense. I don't love the matchup. I think just about everything the Cardinals can do, the Dolphins can do a little bit better. The only difference is that the quarterback isn't quite as mobile in Miami.
Hmm.
I like the home spot. The home spot in the short turnaround. I always try to fade to the home team, or I'm sorry, I always try to bet the home team if I can't. If I feel it's a reasonable matchup. I do see this one as kind of a 50-50, and I'm going to lean home. Uh, it's still going to be Miami. It's still going to be muggy. The weather is probably going to play a factor, especially in the turnaround. So I think the Florida team is probably going to be better to deal with it than the team that plays their games in upstate New York. So I'll lay the 2.5. Give me the Fins. Fins up.